my dad had a Playboy left out at age 5, and it's affected almost every choice I made for the rest of my life from age 5.
Please, no more parties in LA.
Kanye is rumored to be working on a
No more
site.
parties in LA. Please, baby, no more parties in LA.
Instagram is the best way to promote some pussy.
Scary. Scary.
I've been a fan of Kanye for almost all my life, and with his recent streak, there's some uncomfortable truths that me and other Kanye fans have to come to terms with. Kanye is a gooner. According to Urban Dictionary, a gooner is someone who is completely and miserably addicted to porn, but embraces it and loves it. And with all the recent discourse about Ye's current wife, his sexual misconduct cases with Yeezy interns, and his sexualization of Kamala Harris recently, it's important to state that these aren't new occurrences. The sexualization of women in his lyrics and his unhealthy relationship with porn have always been topics. When making his hit song Stronger, which sampled Daft Punk's Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger, he had so much porn playing in the studio that it made the duo hallucinate. Nicki Minaj was also quoted before saying, "I'd go to the studio and he has nothing but pictures of naked women on his computer that he'd invite me to look at. They were really artsy pictures, but you know he loves nudity, so it was a complete shock to me because I thought I had him all figured out, but I didn't." He's also claimed that he fell in love with a porn star in Hell of a Life and has also watched his ex-wife Kim Kardashian's sex tape. And at this point in his career, I think this is where he really doubles down on his sexualization and his porn addictions.
Oh shit, my dick got can she suck right now? Fuck, can she fuck right now? I didn't ask twice now. Can you bring your price down?
And although he isn't really known for it, when you go back and you listen to a lot of Kanye's music, a lot of it is severely horny and over-sexualizes women. And even in stuff like The Life of Pablo, you could see the contradictions start to form between Kanye's conservative views and his sexually liberated, hypersexual view of the world. I mean, even in Yeezus, he says, "Put my fists in her like a civil rights sign," and "Eating Asian pussy, all I need is sweet and sour sauce."
He has such a way with words.
What if we fuck right in the middle of this motherfucking dinner table?
Also, I noticed halfway through voicing this over that I am not referring to him as Ye, which is now his legal name, and honestly, I'll stick to that. I mean, if somebody wants to be called something, it'd be a nice thing to call them that, even if they were born something different. Ye has acknowledged the role pornography played in his life and the toll that it had on his mental health and relationships. He also mentioned his problem with having a wandering eye in his album Ye, where he has the lyrics, "I could have Naomi Campbell and still might want me a Stormy Daniels, who was a prawn star who was caught up with Trump, as we all know now." And he also has a bar about all these thoughts on Christian Mingle, which, once again, he has such a way with words. As a former lifelong fan of Kanye, I think that myself and his fans cannot deny the increasing sexual topics in his songs. While it makes sense in the character arc of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and in the goofy moments of his earlier albums, his most current albums like The Vultures run are very heavy and sexual with graphic lyrics and imagery, even down to the album cover. Kanye's albums always kinda had themes of family, religion, hope, etc., and then now he just has albums with songs called Fuck Some. Like, that's the best he could come up with, I guess. But going back to his album Progressions, that's actually where we find the answer to why Ye descended into alt-right rhetoric and fascism.
Everything that I've read, praise the Lord.
Now, before I get into this segment, I want to say I'm not making the case that if you're religious, you're a fascist. I've said multiple times in my DMs, posts, and videos, I'm an agnostic race Christian. I'm not really a Reddit atheist. Anyways, let me cook. As Ye's guilt about his addiction deepened, he turned towards religion in search of redemption, as many do. His embrace of Christianity, which culminated in the release of his 2019 gospel-inspired album Jesus is King, marked a significant turning point in his public life. Christianity for West became both a source of solace and a framework for grappling with his perceived sins. However, this newfound faith came with its own complications. His guilt and shame over his past, especially in relation to pornography addiction and other moral failings, led him to adopt increasingly rigid and punitive views of the world. This extreme form of religious conservatism, in which Ye positioned himself as a moral authority, contributed to his public embrace of controversial political ideologies, including his breakdown and confession of almost aborting his daughter during his presidential run. Speaking of his daughter, in 2018, Ye released, his album Ye. It was released to mixed reception, but a song that stood out to me on this album on the first listen was a song called Violent Crimes. Outside of his very bizarre relationships and misogyny, Ye was pretty politically progressive throughout his years, from calling out homophobia in the rap industry to having a verse about the predatory prison industrial complex. And after a very braggadocious, sexually charged album run like T-Lop, Yeezus, and Dark Fantasy, I was pretty surprised that he made a song that was so personal and reflective about the prevalence of misogyny, domestic abuse, and sexualization of women. But then, as I got older and revisited the song more deeply for this video, I realized how shitty and hollow of a song it really is. Ye self-admittedly didn't even write most of the lyrics, and although he gets into his personal life and fears for his daughter Northwest, that's one of its major pitfalls. Of course, I wouldn't bash anybody for coming to the realization that yes, rape, misogyny, and abuse are very real issues for women. But Ye's criticisms target symptoms rather than the causes, and he never really changed after making this song. Sure, fellas are pimps, players, and monsters until they have daughters, but is it really necessary for these dudes to only realize this after having a daughter, or because they have a sister? There's also a grouping of lyrics where Ye goes on about how he won't let his daughter do anything like Pilates or wear curvy dresses because men are perverts. Which, as a fan of Ye, is fucking bonkers considering he gets head in public and basically married his current wife to be a walking sex trophy, but I don't want to get into ad hominem territory. What came across to fans as a personal rough fencing session and development in Ye's character and morals turned out to be a ghost-written song that sounds nice but misses any hard convos to be had or anything meaningful. After this, Ye released Donda, which had themes about his mother, his faith, and family, but all of that really meant nothing because of what followed.
They want to separate and confuse the Christians and make us afraid to stand next to each other. A Christian can stand next to anyone. We can go visit R. Kelly in prison. We can go talk to Harvey Weinstein.
That's what Jesus did.
Yes.
At the heart of Ye's turn towards fascist ideology is a sense of guilt that morphed into an aggressive need for control and religion. Faced with the dissonance between his past behavior and his new religious identity, Ye appeared to lash out against what he perceived as a morally corrupt world. And one of the things that fascism by nature promises is a return to an idealized past, a period where individuals can find meaning and identity through strong leaders and clear moral boundaries. And this is where this guy comes in and breaks the camel's back. Long story short, he's a Nazi sympathizer. While many of the most visible figures in the pornography industry are not Jewish, Ye's particular focus on the role he saw Jewish people playing in the entertainment and media sectors became intertwined with his negative experiences with porn. And then this half-Latino white supremacist goes to Ye and tells him that all of his issues in the music industry, media, and Kim Kardashian leaving him for Pete Davidson is because of the Jews. And I plan to cover this in another video down the line when maybe, I feel like getting death threats, but the porn industry, like the music industry, has a lot of Jewish influence and overrepresentation due to historical context. I mean, it's not really talked about or well known nowadays, but Michael Jackson also had a heavily anti-Semitic streak. I mean, you could look at the pictures and also the lyrics of "They Don't Really Care About Us," but this is a story for another day. If you've been a Ye fan for a while, you've probably noticed that over his career, Ye has always had people in his life to keep him on the straight and narrow. Jay-Z, Pharrell, Kim Kardashian, Donda, the list goes on and on. But nowadays, we see Ye surrounded by yes men in that he exiles anybody that disagrees. So for now, he only has leeches and nobody that cares about him truly. So to basically sum up this segment and the video as a whole, a mentally ill man with misogynistic tendencies was taken advantage of by a white supremacist who told him that all of his issues, including his porn addiction, his struggles in the music industry, yada yada yada, were orchestrated and supported by the Jews. And that Hitler